Hi guys, I'm working on annual 2019 Taroscopes. They're actually lots of fun. They give you lots of insight about every single segment of your life. And it's kind of like divided by quarters. It's divided by section of your life. And it's going to be really interesting guide. It was really well received last year. So now this is your time to get them one sign for 1995 or all signs. So you can check your ascendant, you can check your moon sign, you can check your friends, somebody that you're like having an eye on for $39.95. It is a really good time to order right now because the moment when I deliver the first one, the price is going up to $29.95 and to $39.95. So yeah, I invite you to order. Like, the link is down in the description. You can see it, you can go right there, and this is like really good time to take advantage of. So for those of you who are steady subscribers, please do that. It's great for you, it's great for me to support my channel. And those of you who are here the first time, you can actually check my timelines, and you can see I released them somewhere late in July, so you can see how they look like. Okay guys, so let's start with the reading. Hello Leo, there is like a mini lion over here, right Steffi? Do you love Leos? Really? Okay, so finished meditating and the word that came to me was lessons. So let's check which one. Leo. Oops, note 55, just one. Leo. Conditioning. Lovely. Leo. Money. Finances are important. What do we get from this deck? Leo. We get clouds and shape-shifting. And romance angels for Leo. And Leo. Make the effort. This is really clear, Leo. You are making long-term plans. With long-term plans, it's like you're thinking about your well-being. You are thinking about things you need to change and do some form of, let's call them, breakthrough in order to get to where you want to be, right? The money is a very important card, of course, right? But money is also kind of like manifestation of our energy. What the card here says is finances are important. There is enough abundance in the universe for everyone. So how does the attitude of lack work? I'll tell you. My dad always said, if somebody wins on the stock market, somebody else will lose. That's not so. If you take a cup of the water from the ocean, does that mean the ocean has less? No, because somewhere else the rain is replenishing. That's the cycle that we are going through. Sure, you're not going to win all the time because that just like statistically will be impossible, and then that would just like prove the theory that stock market means nothing, for example, right? But worries about the money are very common, and we definitely need money to survive. And yet, usually when we have that fear of scarcity, then actually we are attracting more of what is blocking us than what is like basically coming toward us. So I really think you guys actually either have worked really hard toward having enough money, or kind of like are going to have a completely new attitude. So how do you kind of release that poverty or fear-based attitude? Kind of like pay bills with smile. Just pay bills and say, I'm so grateful and I'm so thankful that I do have the money to pay for this, right? When you see rich people car, don't scratch it, don't key it. Instead, go with, well, you know what? Like, I mean, wish one day I have something like that. And maybe if you really need to be in proximity, you can just, like, I mean, stroke it and kind of like wait for this, let's call it good luck and good fate to kind of like grab of you. If you want something, you have to kind of like work in you that you don't feel envy. Instead, you feel, gee, they did it, I can do it too. Sort of like a very unifying feeling. So I really like this lion over here. Lion with kind of like cover of the sheepskin over here. And even though the card does have explanation, it is kind of like a really beautiful story, parable that Cheryl actually sent it to me. And it goes something like that we kind of had the lion who basically grew up in a flock of sheep. And of course, the lion thought he's a sheep. He just didn't realize he's a lion. Well, maybe he could kind of like look different, but hey, he was just anomaly. He was like bleeding like a sheep. He would eat grass like a sheep. But one day, as they were wandering around their pastures, they came to the edge and of this big jungle, and there was another big lion, and he kind of like let out that big roar and kind of like jumped in the middle of the flock. So all the sheep scattered and ran away, and this lion over here also was just like running away among the sheep. But the big one recognized another lion, and he started to give him chase. So all of a sudden, when, let's call him sheep lion, got cornered, the big one is saying, hey, what are you doing here? And the lion says, please have mercy on me, don't kill me, don't eat me. Like the king of the forest kind of like realized that, you know, it was like a lots of conditioning over here. Somebody's believing obviously that they are sheep. So he says, you need to come with me. So he basically is taking this lion to, you know, to the lake, and he says, look. So the lion looks at the lake and looks at himself, looks at the other lion. He's realizing the resemblance, and he says, look, you're the lion. So he said, what does that mean? He said, you can roar if you wish. And it's like so appropriate, guys, you being a lion yourself, or like Big Leo. So the lion tried and tried and tried, instead of like meh, started like be roar. And all of a sudden, everything changed. He was like, from that point on, a lion, and he never was a sheep again. It only took 1 minute. It goes to show that we are growing up with a whole bunch of things. Sometimes we have, you know, parents conditioning. Sometimes we have teachers. Sometimes we have, you know, the times we grew up in. In any case, this conditioning serves to probably protect us, right? And generally conditioning goes like, don't dream too big, don't kind of like be a trouble, don't stand out, right? So we are kind of like conditioned to be the sheep. So what basically happens when one day you kind of realize, wait a minute, my purpose over here is just like not to be that. My purpose is, and you guys born in the sign of Leo, is to be a lion. My purpose is to kind of like send this big mighty roar that everybody's going to hear, and I'm going to be able to kind of like be very protective. So I guess you guys, and especially when it comes to money, especially when it comes to energy, because money, as I said, to me, I can as well read energy. Your energy needs to kind of like reshift. And that's why we see here lessons. What lessons have you learned? What do you need to go toward? Because here we have make the effort. Great love is worth taking the steps you're guided to take. Maybe you're single. Maybe you are in an iffy relationship. Maybe you're in a great relationship. You can still make the effort. If single, well, make sure you're not doing same old, same old. Like that same old, how is that working for everybody else? If everybody else is going on online dating sites, maybe you should try in-face meetings, because at least you can see the chemistry in action versus going through that first awkward blind date. If you never tried online dating, maybe you can. Maybe you can come with something genuine and work on a different profile without saying your height and weight, and that way you can remove everybody superficial. This is like clearly telling you that there was like something where you were pegged into some kind of like mold, and you're supposed to not to be a part of it. And then lovely card, clouds. It's a very airy feeling, right? So there is like another card over here which is called ocean, and it's kind of like ebb and flow that is describing. But with the clouds card, we have in a very similar way also ebb and flow. They're like things that are continuously moving, and of course they're being formed by the tiny droplets of water or crystals, right? And each of these kind of like tiny droplets diffuse and scatter, and that's why they vary in color, right? So they kind of like are on the top white and on the bottom gray, because it's kind of heavier on the bottom. So shapes are really important. Like, how many times did you lie down as a child and look at the clouds and say, look at that one reminds me of that and that? I really think that this is asking for you to shape shift. You might change the way you look, you might change your hairdo, but you might also change your gesture, how you respond to people. You might sit in front of the mirror and have the few responses coming through that maybe are common. Hi, how are you? Kind of like to generate maybe more calm, maybe more friendly, maybe less friendly if you have been inviting in your world lots of people who would basically pounce on your friendliness, right? So experiment with that, I don't know, variations of like those self-expressions, and try to see also first how you ordinarily present yourself, and also see how people with this new kind of like adapted kind of like modifications are now responding to you. So be like clouds, try those different forms, and make sure you're standing up strong. You're not anymore kind of like following the crowd. Like right now, you are the one, you are the king of the jungle, right? So this is really talking about this energy field as well, because you can kind of consciously choose in which direction you're going. So let's see now what else is going to come up here. I'm going to use the cards to get more information, and I will be, let me just zoom this out, clarifying this with the gypsy cards. So anything that I really think it's needed to be clarified. So let's go. Leo for the next 30 days. And guys, make sure that you're checking your moon sign, you're checking your ascendant, because this is a general reading and you want to get as many messages as possible. It is absolutely not realistic to expect that everything is being like funneled to you. So one message might be for you but not the other, because there are lots of different Leos, right? So that's why I say, like, just cover more categories that are kind of like doing making you up, because you're not only one sign, like you have so many different aspects in you. And of course, if you really want to really read me, your own energy, just please contact my website for tarot reading. Okay, so Leo. So the bottom of the deck is beautiful seeking, and right next to it is a major arcana, consequences. The kitty is all tangled up over here. So let's backtrack. Seeking, it is like somebody describes somebody whose heart is overflowing with love. So whether or not were you questioning which direction you're going into or why, and kind of like still keeping doing the things that you have been, but maybe results were not there, or maybe you're like on the verge of giving up, or thinking certain things might not happen for you, whether this is like at money, in career, or in your romance. Now this is the time to kind of like reshift and try different things, instead of like somebody asking you, like, I mean, what you do, and for example, you are in marketing, instead of saying, yeah, I'm in marketing, well, that's the interview answer. Like, instead, in flirting, you might say, well, I kind of like package people. I help them show their best part of them and help them kind of like really kind of like push their company forward. So it's something that actually makes this person enthused, because they're drawn like right into your kind of like world. It's kind of like that the dreamy attitude, which I see here in Sea King, right? It is like somebody with calm and strength and reassurance, a soft place to fall. Maybe you are becoming very encompassing, huggy kind of a person, and extremely compassionate. Or it's going to be a time that other people will need you. They will need you for a balance. And by the way, the balance is coming back in your life. This clearly says to me that something was off. Certain things were in jeopardy, because this time around, you're able to give yourself something that you haven't been doing in a long time, I would say. Maybe certain things happen to you, because after all, this conditioning card also can talk about issues that we have experienced. It could be issues with partners, it could be issue with a third party, it could be about somebody's cheating and exes coming out from the woodwork, somebody kind of like creating problems with children, so your partner is always engaged with children instead of with somebody else's children, right? Instead of like allowing you to also love them in a different way. So it's kind of like a very limited and very protective effort, which kind of like feels really blocked. It does feel that you're like really constrained in being basically a sheep, that you simply have to be like a circus bear dancing at somebody else's tune, right? So this is really looking into saying to yourself, well, you know what, I can pay a little bit forward this time around. So I can look a little bit of a long-term influence on my action. And if you're making ethical and responsible choices, and are you really paying attention where you're going, or everything is just like happening just right now, right there, and you're kind of conditioned with this. So it's this kind of like, you really need to be aware that things are actually coming in balance. You kind of like need to be aware the way things have becoming to influence the ultimate outcome, because after all, this is my karma card, because this card is really affecting your reading, and we are going to leave these two cards aside to kind of like help us. So Leo, you have fire kitten, so that's again a very positive omen. Like, you are again interested, you are again intrigued. Look at this kitty's tail, it's all kind of like catching fire, but this is not preventing you of exploring. It's really kind of like that childlike attitude where everything is interesting, and this is really telling me about this shape-shifting experience. You'll try different things, and some of them might not really kind of like be that exciting, or might end up, let's call them in tears, like, I'm just kidding, with a grain of salt, sort of like with a burnt tail, but the others are going to be so fantastic. It's going to really feel like a new phase, if you wish. There you go, an Ace of Sea. This is basically heralding a new beginning. So there is like where this kind of like water is washing our shore, and we get a whole bunch of goodies brought to us. And sometimes we wonder, what is the story behind them, and where and how you are really connected at this stage. This is also the beginning of something new. It is the beginning of love. It is like something that is going to kind of like push you in this direction where quite the opposite of conditioning is like feeling constrained, feeling limited, feeling you want to go forward but the other people don't want to collaborate, or feeling that you don't want to go forward but the other people want to go forward. So it's always like that mismatch, stars are not aligning. And here it's it's kind of like that enthusiastic new proposition where, good gosh, I can dream again, I can smile again, or I'm feeling like that. And you wake up in the morning and there's like this big good morning to you kind of a thing. So the base is 10 of C. Oh my gosh. So we have 1, we have 10. This kind of tells me that not only are you waking up, but you want like everything. You want everything right now. Just like to this lion, it took only a second for things to be changed. When things are changed in your world, they are going to start developing rapidly. Like this 10 of C, we see here the entire family, this entire fulfillment, this entire kind of like joy. There is like a father, there is mother, there is family. So it is basically your clan. It is the people around you. It is like your own blood family, but also those who you consider like your friends and that you have affinity for, kind of like kindred spirits, if you wish, right? So this is going to be strengthening you very much, and this kind of like unity is going to start to expand. It's going to start including other people. So this is the circle of love. And this also kind of tells me that somebody new who might be coming into your life, and that somebody new might be a fire sign, somebody who might be even younger than you, is also going to be somebody who is like family oriented, and you might actually even kind of introduce them to your clan and see really what happens. You're not going to go about the standard way. Don't freak them out. Don't do this. Don't do that. You're actually going to act, let's call it normal, which is going to be very different for some of you, because normal can appear to be boring compared to this conditioning state, which is always very close to drama and melodrama. It is exciting when you make up, but it's definitely not exciting when you're going through that. So in the past, there is like this 8 of sky, so 8 of swords. The feeling of constraint, the feeling of being trapped, the feeling, oh my gosh, I'm caught into something, in this kind of like web. And look at that, the danger is looming, the dark is coming, and oh my gosh, I'm going to die. Well, what is the solution here? We need to relax, because the more panicky we get, the more kind of like obstacles we create. Remember those clouds? Those clouds can appear here very gray, very threatening. We can concoct in our heads a whole bunch of stories and circumstances that are just going to scare us. The truth is that we really need to loosen up, and this is falling in your past. So I really feel that some kind of grip that you have about the conditioning is lessening. You're obviously going into way more mellow and giving energy. And this is Matrix moving camera, in case you're wondering. Are you going to visit the table? Yes, look at that. You guys are having both lions on the table, the black one and the beige taupe one. Do you love lions? He doesn't talk. Well, not on camera. I didn't see him yet. He does talk to Safi. So there you go, guys. You see that? This is your clan. And clan is feeling kind of like this presence. So above you is 5 of earth. And there is like this essence. There is like still somewhere looming. Look at this. The kitty is looking the inside of somebody who is like feeling warm, who is feeling, and I don't know if you can see it here. Let me see if this kind of gets sharp. And you see these kitty cats are just like Safi and Matrix, cuddling, spooning. There is like fire, there is food, there is milk. And yet, you know, this kitty here is in the cold and kind of like really feeling sad about things that are happening. So it could have been that what you need to shake off is the feeling of gloom and doom about the peeling of people who have left you out in the cold, who have not fulfilled their promises, who have not been there for you when you needed them the most, who you counted as the most important. You placed them on the pedestal, and for a Leo to put another Leo on the pedestal, it's huge. So something really felt completely out of balance. And for you to be able to untangle everything that has been kind of like this mush and mess, is really, really big, because you're giving yourself this like new possibilities of a new start, of you being able to be soft and gentle and compassionate, even possible toward this person who was not that compassionate toward you, and hence you didn't find efficient answer to yourself over time. You still have like certain kind of like leftovers of this, but I can see your family, your friends, your newfound attitude, people around you are reacting toward you completely different way. And we have a Two of Fire. And what a lovely card this is. Look at this. The door has opened. It's night. Obviously, the candles are on. So there is like warmth and light inside, but there is like darkness outside. So which way will Kitty go? There is like that moment of choice. What shall I do? In which direction should I go? Do I really want to go with tried and true? Or do I really want to actually explore, right? So there's like definitely, because this is about your immediate future, possibility for something kind of like that's going to be adventure and some kind of like opportunities like really ahead, but maybe the time is still not right. You still maybe need to contemplate that decision. Okay, so you have to make sure that things are not complicated. That's probably why this came through. If you have too many of these like hoops and loops to kind of jump through, that's complicated, right? So meditation and discrete time, observation, prayer, this is like something that is going to really help you charge ahead, because it could be very, very interesting what is like really going on out there. So let's see your emotions. Oh my gosh, you got the cat. And of course, lovely and trusting card. I am actually so glad to see that, because getting this is almost like having a new lease of life. Imagine that you have died. Imagine that you're dying. Let's not say you died. Let's say you're dying, and in your dream you're having this appearance of spirit or God or whatever you are believing in, and it is asking you, telling you, well, your heart is giving up. Your heart cannot work anymore, and I'm taking you with me to my kingdom, right? And you're saying it's not my time. It's not my time. And of course, I'm drawing inspiration from my recent dreams. I had quite a few of these lately. And then the God says to you, what do you need from me? You can ask one wish. And you say, I want a new heart. My heart, my lion heart, is broken. It's shredded. Can I please have a new heart? And the God says, take a deep breath. Take a deep, deep breath. Here is your new heart beating. So this card really means that your heart is repaired. Your heart will beat all over again. And this is again being fully present where you are right now. Don't kind of like create yourself back into this conditioning in a trap situation. You're like free to wander. You're free to welcome new opportunities, right? Your nose will definitely lead you toward your bliss if you let it. So you need to open your eyes to beauty and kind of like wake up your spirit to wonder, right? There is like no more suppression. It is like that light, cloudy feeling that I am actually picking up on in your reading. So your environment is Four of Sky. Your environment is sleeping. Your environment, like, what a beautiful lavender field to fall asleep in. Like, don't you know that putting a lavender patch like this under your pillow is going to help you sleep? And what a great relaxation this is. You don't even care which way the wind blows, right? But this card is also talking about sometimes overdoing. Maybe you find that friends maybe were not there for you entirely as you anticipated. Maybe they're like asleep on the switch. Maybe, you want to expand and you want to actually explore different people, different circumstances, and different things. Maybe you're just like simply finding out that, you have been fishing or you have been swimming in a very small pond, and maybe you belong to really rivers and lakes and oceans. And it is really, really time to kind of like let this like big roar out, right? So you have to figure out which friends is that you have, or family members, or this kind of like clan that surrounds you is basically dealing with circumstances that maybe they're like already in some kind of denial, and maybe you are needed this time around to give them that softness, to give them this compassion. It looks like somebody around you will really kind of like need that help to go to this lasting peace. This also could mean, and I'm really sad to say, that maybe somebody is shutting down around you. Maybe it's an elderly, maybe it's a pet. It is like somebody that you might not be able to heal and bring them back to like health, but you will definitely be able to give them everything that they came on this earth for, that like feeling of love. And that's your role over there. So you're like definitely right now reaching a full circle, saying to yourself, I wish that somebody was there for me when I have been in that position, when I have been down, when I was like kicked down and thrown, and people only kicked me when I was like suffering. Right now you are in this position that you do this, and guess what happens when you're in this position to kind of like do things different and from how you have been treated? Then you are changing your karma, you are changing, you're cutting these cords, and you're able to start a new cycle without repetition. You are able to start something completely new, something completely fresh. So Seven of Fire, this is like really coming out for so many signs, and also in this position of fears and hopes. This is kind of like talking about that maybe there are people who now see you as, well, you won. Whatever the winning is, you maybe got a promotion, or you know, you left somebody and you moved on, and the other person feels left out. You know, name it. And sometimes people, out of jealousy, they just like want to attack you because, right? Because, you know, like I can tell you this, like having a channel, you go out of your way to kind of like do a reading and trying to help and trying to communicate the messages, and people will just attack you. Well, maybe it's not what they want to hear, but maybe it is something that you need, and maybe this is kind of like in conflict what other people want. So it is, again, you need to sit on your throne, Leo. It is like really that time. This is not doing with anger, but it's like doing this with conviction, where people will understand with the tone of your voice that you mean it, right? So if somebody says, hey, want a cake? And you say, oh, I don't know. Or, no thanks, I really wouldn't want to. You see, there is a difference with one, you're establishing your boundaries, with another, yeah, just walk over me, please, anytime. You can also wipe your shoes off me, right? So this is like you are having your fort, you're defending your fort, you're on the throne, you know what you want, and you know what you want because you have learned that lesson the hard way. And where is this heading? Well, there you go, Six of Fire. Because these two cards, this comes usually after 7, but for you it was reversed. So this is actually lovely, because after you win, after you become promoted, after you become somebody, everybody wants to knock you down. It's kind of like the lobster effect. If you don't know what lobster effect is, like you put one lobster in a bucket, a lobster is going to crawl out. But you put a second one, is going to start pulling the first one trying to crawl out. And that's why they stay in the bucket. So with you is the opposite. You are going to establish and put your foot down, establish your dominion, and you're going to be this victor and winner and getting all these accolades and kind of feeling proud, feeling that is your time. Look at this, everybody's bringing you toys and catnip and mice and fish, like what a kind of like lovely thing to have, right? So finally you're realizing, wait a minute, like I did put this line in sand, because most people kind of like hate to do that, because especially women hate to be disagreeable. But then you put your line in sand and you go, okay, so I am the leader. and I did let this mighty roar, I'm never going to be sheep again. So this is your chance to use your gift for kind of like the fullest development and accept the responsibilities that actually do come with personal achievement. You're going to feel very accomplished with kind of like trying to find new methods and new venues like this cloud shape-shifting to kind of like get you in a new direction. So let me clarify a few things. I really don't have to clarify much here, but I'm going to clarify this 4 of sky and 5 of earth. So let me see this 5 of earth. And you have wife. And it's like woman with a child. Somebody could be with a child, but it doesn't have to be. Which kind of like brings me back to this card. Maybe there was a situation where you have been the third wheel, or there has been a third party heavily influencing the situation, and you feel loss. Whether or not it was you who won, but maybe you didn't win. And now, in this month, you're going to realize, wait a minute, I felt like such a loser, but I was the one who won. I was the one who managed to walk away, kind of a thing. Because it is really clearly that this kind of like feeling is connected to some kind of person, possibly also marriage, because the consequence card of it being over here. And yeah, it caused a huge amount of, it's called melancholy, right? So melancholy is not necessarily full depression, but it is like one of those kind of like pills, like you're lacking pick-me-up pills. So yes, you are putting a foot in front of another, and that's probably why you have make the effort, kind of like kicking through, that you need to kind of like take the steps by, you know, this like putting one foot in front of another probably felt strenuous, and it probably was going for a while. But now you're going to start feeling, well, wait a minute, I'm finally getting there. It's the end of the tunnel. And not only that, but look at this bright sun that I'm seeing outside. So let me see for this environment of yours, what's going on here. Misfortune. So it is like amazing that you have been through some kind of sets of circumstances that I feel are now better putting you in a role of a confidant, of a friend, of a family member to help somebody. So there is like a misfortune, and there is like servant reversed over here. You are able to help other people who are in a situation that seems to be, you know, without any exit or without any hope, to basically point out to them the exit, point out to them which things are not serving them well. This is like sometimes hard to do with friends because we don't want to harm them, we don't want to hurt them, and yet, and that sometimes people complain about my messages here, like, do you think I like to see card coming through that is like sad? I don't. But sadness is a part of that flow, and so is happiness. And that shape-shifting is saying that sometimes we can just kind of like appear differently and start attracting different energy coming our way. So same way over here, by you relating these messages in a gentle, like I'm in a hug-like manner, like you're also able to motivate this person to get out of their sleep. It's maybe just like simply a Snow White that needs a prince and needs this big kiss. And maybe this is also telling me that a person you are waiting for is somebody who is also going through something that they need to deal with. Maybe for some of you there is like somebody you didn't meet yet. It could be somebody else coming in your life, and it simply could be that you're going to provide this kind of like helping hand, and if nothing else, this compassionate big shoulders for cry, and not to kind of like troubleshoot their life. Sometimes people just like want a listening ear, and that's all good. Once when the poison is out of the system, it's gone. And lastly, I want to see the cat, because that signifies fresh new beginning, trusting, loving. It's kind of like great feeling, kind of like follow your nose, guys. So let me see. You are getting messenger and you are getting merchant. So now it's interesting. Merchant was reversed. So definitely there could be some kind of like messages. It almost like looks to me there is a challenge that is kind of linking you to the past. Messenger definitely talks about something that is indirect. It could be email, it could be text. It's like not face-to-face communication. It could be something that you're getting through grapevines as well. And it is about somebody who is possibly far away, who is definitely long distance, but somebody who is keeping an eye on you. Somebody who maybe is entrepreneurial, merchant after all, when they made these cards was basically what we consider wealthy these days, right? So they were not the upper class, they were not noblemen, but they were like sort of like the best that normal people can get. So upper middle class, let's call it. Like not a billionaire, but multi-millionaire. So this person is like kind of like having certain action over here that is like kind of like conceived, and it's kind of like really trying to see if somebody will return. Now this is reversed. This person might be looking at some kind of communication that have previously have happened. And as I said, I do see it somewhere that somebody does have some resentment over you moving forward and over you being that winner. And karma might test you, because that's why you got karma card. And karma tests you usually by putting the element in your system that should provoke you. So like you need to vaccinate yourself from that conditioning, and this time around you're not going to be repeating the same thing. So most likely you're going to have this new motion of moving forward, dating again, meeting new people, improving the relationship as is, having a lovely period that is kind of like encompassing like a whole bunch of people around you. But it might be somebody who like is just like simply picking up on this like huge enormous swirl of energy, and it's like returning back to your life. I really don't think you really want this person, and very well, because this is your environment, this could be them, that they can actually really bring turmoil. That can be a person who goes and in between Houdini, I just kind of disappear, and I'm destructive kind of a thing, right? So it could be a whole kind of like bunch of things, that maybe it's somebody who relied upon you being the confident. Maybe it's somebody who would just like blast you and you would let them because you kind of like really have been highly considerate, right? But it also looks like that person could have done some damage and made you stuck. It is like definitely clearance from that. It is time to get unstuck. So if they come back, maybe the answer is, well, communication is there. You need to communicate what you need to communicate, and you need to kind of like, again, as I said, hold your opinion. You need to hold and protect your beliefs, because that's the line in sand that is going to make you win. Even if you go back, that relationship is going to be redefined. So Leo, let's pull one more card for you to seal this reading. And again, guys, to get your personal reading, and keep in mind you have a 6 here, so somebody might be definitely coming back. The romance is in the air. So check your ascendant, check your moon sign, but really for private readings, contact me at cattarot.ca. So let's see, Leo, advice and final messages. Advice and final messages. A new God, metamorphosis. What a lovely card to get. So that's kind of like what I see over here. You're not stuck anymore, and you're not in a cocoon. You're like spreading your wings to fly. So you're in the process of deep and beautiful change. Butterflies earn their wings through great effort. The process of change is often painful, for it's never without losses and sacrifices. If you are to transform from one form to another, a part of you needs to die. Letting go isn't easy, especially when you're used to thinking a certain way about your life and how you live it. Just as a snake sheds its dead skin, or a caterpillar, quote-unquote, dies so that a butterfly can be born, you're required to release your old ideas and embrace unnecessary change so you can live your best life. Perhaps you're being asked to let go of low self-worth, a dream that no longer serves you, or a relationship that is draining, or simply unhealthy habits. Despite your fear, You must accept that this is a transformational time for you. There will be some loss involved, but you will love what you become. I bet you will. You will feel strong again. You will feel refreshed again. You will feel, unstoppable. All it takes is like 1 second to let out that mighty roar. So, my dear lions, just enjoy it. You are worth it. Okay? Love you. And I hope to see you soon. Talk to you later.